Okay, it's 7 p.m. I would like to call the meeting to order. Morton Grove Public Library Board of Trustees, February 9th, 2012, it's 7:01. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Secretary Burke, can you call the roll?
Trustee Elvers.
Here.
Trustee Bird, here. Trustee Kelbeck.
Here.
Trustee Goldstein, here. Trustee Hoffman.
Here.
Trustee Peters.
Here.
And Trustee Quinn.
Here.
Present and accounted
Wonderful. Approval of minutes, board meeting, January 12th, 2012. I have a motion to approve.
I move that we adopt the minutes of January 12th, 2012 as posted.
Do I have a second? Yes.
Well, I have a correction. So I guess, yeah, first we just want me to make the correction. First we move it and then you can correct. Second.
There's a second.
So then there'll be discussion and you correct it.
Second was
Did we have a second on that?
Quinn.
Comments?
Yes. No, I just wanted to fix point number 11. It has to do with whether or not it's not whether I will continue to live here, it's whether I am living here. And the question was on my residency of Morton Grove. So the answer is yes, I'm still a resident of Morton Grove, and I am living here. And the question wasn't on the will, it is the present tense. Am I a legal resident of Morton
So
Grove?
you want
I
to
believe.
amend that to read
I am a resident of, I mean, I just want to add,
is
yes.
the Hampshire family
Are living, you want to change it into
are
just
living in Morton Grove?
Correction.
Any further comments?
Correction, page 3. On in regards to Trustee Hoffman noted that he was in conversation with corporate counsel tenant before the meeting about his recording in the executive meeting. Mr. Tennant explained that he was not in violation of the Open Meetings Act, but in violation of the closed session confidentiality instead of confidentially.
Miss Spelling, all right, good catch.
And also, it was 5-1, didn't Mr. Hoffman vote no on the approval of the minutes? Oh, so it is 6-1?
Approve 6.
So it should be 6-1? Should be 6-0.
6
6 to nothing?
6
Okay.
to 0.
But I was used to it because I came in late. So it should still be 6. I came in late. Last night. There's still 6 people there.
I thought we were against it because it had for,
That was 2 meetings ago.
Okay,
Does everyone approve of the minutes as read?
with the
so
changes.
then
Yeah.
with the changes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
No? Okay, minutes accepted. Approval of minutes, executive session, January 12th, 2012. Take it. Second, thank you. We have a second. Any comments or corrections? Being none,
Is everyone in approval of the meeting minutes as read?
yes.
No one opposed?
Okay, minutes approved.
And can you pass those down, because we need to collect them, please? Thank you.
Okay, are there any public comments for agenda items only tonight? Okay, if not, President's report. I had the opportunity to attend a Morton Grove Public Officials and Administrators meeting last Tuesday, which consisted of some superintendents of the local school district.
Excuse me, Mr. Albers, but when we're passing down those minutes, check and see if I didn't put my roll calls in. They may be stuck in between.
I don't see it.
They jumped up somewhere. And this is the old one.
So there were representatives there from the local school districts, the Morton Grove Chamber of Commerce, and the Village of Morton Grove. They discussed the upcoming proposed TIF district. They did talk about a referendum or multiple referendums that will be taking place at School District 67. So do yourself a favor and look into that if you're a resident of our town. I had read in the Bugle a couple weeks back that our neighboring library over in Niles is reducing by 3,000 square feet their, what is it, the adult book collection. So rather significant. It kind of reflects what was the most popular selling item again this holiday season, which was e-readers. And a last little benefit that I got from this administrators meeting, they sent over a note today that there could be some grant money outstanding for the repair or replacement of boilers. So,
I'm going to copy that for Claude, too.
yeah, so that was a good thing. And that would conclude my report, and we could move on to the treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report, you've all received your cash statement as well as the statement as of today. There's nothing significant to report about it. We're still in process of changing things over to PMA. We have supplied PMA with all of our paperwork, and we're waiting for them to get everything in process and switch it over. So we're looking forward to that. Other than that, there aren't really any significant changes to talk about. Does anybody have any questions about either the cash statement, the income statement, or the checks? I'll be happy to answer them. If not, I would like to submit my treasurer's report. This as my treasurer's report.
If no questions or comments, sure.
One question. Once again, I noticed one ledger for Clark Barrett Smith, well, only $78, but is that regular monthly, or were they?
No, it's not monthly.
That was just.
They're on a
constant. So they
per
were-
phone call.
They were constant, so.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Okay, let's have a hand vote for the treasurer's report.
Do we get a second on that?
I thought we had a second.
Anybody?
And Mr. Kelman, Dr. Kelman?
I'll second.
Kelman first. Trustee Berg, yes. Trustee Kalanick.
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein. Yes. Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Peters.
Yes.
Trustee Quinn.
Yes.
And Trustee Albers.
Yes. Committee reports, finance.
Yes, I gave my finance committee when I updated you on PMA.
All right, great. Building and grounds, anything to report?
I'd just like to make a comment on building and grounds. I thank you very much for that little survey that was put in there. It's informal, but very informative, I thought. To me, it sort of gave a second nod to the things we had talked about. And I think it's, it hopefully reflects that we're planning in the right direction. And I think we'll have to go from there. We'll probably end up having, I would think, I'll talk with Chris, I think maybe we need another meeting in the next month or so to see where we head, which direction. Yep. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment on that.
Sure.
You were referring to Engbert Anderson, and according to the booklet that they gave us at the end of their review, they have a draft here of what it would cost to maintain the existing building. It happens to be on the last page. And their total is $2,502,000 without counting asbestos, just so you're aware. Also, be aware that there is a law in specifically Title 71, the Public Building Facilities and Real Property, as far as what we can do, and it's very limited because of the problems we have in the building. And I suggest that you all read this, including our attorney.
All right, thank you. Policy did not meet over the last month, so we can go to staff reports, directors.
Well, we're just going to mention a couple things because we spent a lot of time talking about the website, probably, so we'll just keep it short. First of all, I handed out before the meeting Nancy's PR department report, which I neglected to include in the total PDF that I sent out Sunday, so I apologize for that. So the large librarian's report you have plus this gives you the complete package. The one thing I wanted to mention is that we are very happy to say that we have completed nearly all of the PR department changes that we talked about in November. Karina is now officially our graphic designer. We have filled one of the program aide positions and working on the other one. And I'm very happy to say that, well, we merged the PR and reference departments into the new adult services department under the very capable leadership of Tanya Fishman, who's now head of adult services. And we're all very happy with that. And I'll turn it over to her.
Was Natalia happy with that? Good.
Well, I'll be very brief too, so we can save time for the website discussion. I just want to praise our staff again. You read that we didn't have heat for several days. There was also a snowstorm, and still we managed to hold a card making extravaganza in this room on Saturday with staff being in coats actually because it was so cold. We also had attended several of the things in the community. One of them was Gulf Middle School Culture Festival, and the other one we participated in the Skokie preschool fair at the Skokie Library. We made a number of school visits, had concerts, films, and created one very popular program that is actually being monitored or facilitated by a volunteer, and it's a meeting roundtable. We have now more than 20 people attending, and the conference room is really not enough for them. I will finish with that because I know we'll be talking about the website, which took a lot of our time just going through bids and discussing this important issue.
I just wanted to make a couple comments, if I could, on the director's report. I wanted to thank whoever put this World of Fiction together. It's such an eclectic and comprehensive list of books, and I've read many of the books, and they're excellent. So I want to thank Deborah. And I also wanted to thank you for this Culver's project. I think it's an excellent idea, and I want to salute Culver's for being new in the community and becoming involved in us. And it'll be good for Culvers, it'll be great for our kids, and it'll be great for their literacy. So thank you very much.
And the other flyer you got in your package was also by Deb.
Thank you. Books to fill.
Yes.
Yes.
That concludes the directors. Corporate counsel, anything to think?
Yes, before you this evening, we have a resolution to adopt a closed session recording policy. And essentially what this does is just formalizes your executive session review and the procedure that you're going to use to destroy recordings of closed sessions after they've been 18 months has passed. And that would be in compliance with the ability to do that by law. And so what you've set up here is that you have to have a semi-annual review of your closed session minutes. So you've set it up to do that review in June and December of each year. And in June and December of each year, in addition to reviewing the minutes, you'll also review what recordings are available and what are ready or are available to be destroyed, so that you don't have to maintain those old recordings any longer than necessary. If there's any questions on the policy, I'd be happy to answer them either now or when you're considering it later on in the meeting. That's all I have to report.
Do we have a copy of that
Yeah,
policy?
we weren't given a copy of it, right?
You didn't get it?
No.
I didn't make it in the packets.
Oh, okay.
Could we vote on it next month? Can it wait
You
till
can,
next
you can
month?
wait till next month, yeah. You can wait till next month. I'll send it to everyone by email, and you'll have it. I apologize for that. I thought it was in everybody's packets.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
So you can take that away.
So that's
Take the pen and,
10 days. There's no unfinished business I'm aware of. So, new business, website supplier selection, and B.
All right, you have in your packets the 3 proposals we received for from the website design firms. I also emailed this afternoon and handed out tonight a couple of charts to try and summarize and put that data into a more usable form. The one thing I'd like to mention on them is for prices, I'm sure you're comparing off of this chart because the prices that are in the proposals are not comparing equal things. They include features that we either saw as optional or we decided not to include at all. So I'll talk more about that in a moment. So I want to start with the process that we've been going through. We started by forming a committee, a web design committee, with the 2 of us, our 3 department heads, Ann, Helga, and Caitlin, and Karina, our graphic designer. All of us have either worked on maintaining our current site or worked on sites in previous jobs, and have a wide range of technical experience to evaluate the proposals and the abilities of the firms to meet our needs. So we started by creating an RFP, a request for proposals, to identify what we needed in the site, what kind of features. And it wasn't at a level of we want a blue bar, we want these buttons. It wasn't anything like that. It was just talking about the functionality that we wanted in the site. We sent that out. We got proposals back from 3 firms. We had each of them in for about a 2-hour interview with this committee, where they did a presentation on their firm, their site, how their software works, that sort of thing. And then a lot of back and forth questions, them of us and us of them. And then they had an opportunity to submit a revised proposal, because there's always things that come out of these meetings where they didn't understand something, or we came to a different agreement concerning what was in our proposal. I mean, not anything that would affect anyone else's proposal, just clarifications. And then we met several times, the committee, to reach our decision. Now, the last time we went through this a year ago, we had a very different process. It was just Ben and me talking to these people. We didn't have an RFP. And so it's open to different interpretations as people, the designers understood things differently perhaps. We didn't have the detailed RFP to compare them to. And so what's interesting is that the way we did it this time was a much more detailed, intensive process. It really differentiated firms much more. Last time we felt, well, we had a preference for one of them. We felt they were all pretty similar in abilities. This time, that proved not to be the case. The other chart that I sent out, which it attempts to assign a score to each of them, it doesn't really reflect the magnitude of the differences we saw between the firms. Because unfortunately, one of them, Weblinks, just did not measure up to the other two in a number of areas. As I said, if you look at the scores, it's not that much lower, but there's just intangible things that we gleaned from looking at sites, from their demo, that it's hard to represent in something as concrete as the chart. They really came up short in just about every area that was important to us. The biggest one is the software that they use. When you look at the proposals and on these charts, you see a reference to CMS. That stands for Content Management System. That is the type of software that they use. It's not the name of the software, it's just a type. Like you have word processing, spreadsheet, CMS. So they're all using CMS, a CMS package, as would any firm that we would use. And CMS is far and away the most important aspect of the whole project. It's the software that the firm uses to create the site in the first place. It's the software that serves up the site to anybody on the internet coming to our website. And it's the software that our staff will use to maintain the site. Add new pages, add new features, edit existing pages. So we will have 10, 15, 20 staff members working in this software, many of them on a practically a daily basis for years to come. And it's really key to what we can do with the site going forward. And that was the place where Weblinks really fell farthest behind of the others. We just were not anywhere near as impressed by what it could do or how easy it was to do things in it. Now, if you look at the price chart, you'll see that their price is very, very low compared to the others. And we're almost baffled by that, by how low it is, thinking that is there something, not something that we missed in our proposal, but is there something that isn't included that's going to be thrown in at the end or something? Because the price is just so much lower than the others. But our feeling is that this is a perfect example of we will get what we pay for with that low cost. That we feel we can't rely on it. That, can they give us a site that will look okay? Well, yes, most likely so. But when it comes to the CMS, what determines what we can do with the site going forward is the quality just wasn't there. We didn't feel. So, while we thought we would go through this process looking at 3 relatively comparable firms to choose from, we pretty much had to eliminate Weblinks right at the beginning. So everything from this point on is just talking about the other 2, Liquid Print and American Eagle. So I want to just go over some of the other factors we looked at aside from the CMS. First is the firm itself, size, reputation, how they presented themselves in their demo and in their proposal. The ability of the firm to provide the functionality that we need in an attractive, easy-to-use website. Other sites that have been developed by the firm, especially library sites, since obviously that's most relevant. References, we spoke to, Colleen, one reference librarian, spoke to 2 customers of each site, or each firm. Obviously these are sites that they gave us as references, so presumably they're going to like them, but that's the only way you can go with it. You can't look at the website in most cases and see who designed it. ADA standards, this is called Section 508, that's the guidelines that websites should follow. And that's obviously important, just like trying to make our building accessible. We want the site to be accessible to people with disabilities. And finally, cost, because we do have a specific budgeted amount to pay for this. So we were very pleased with the proposals from both Liquid Print and American Eagle. I felt that they both could do pretty much everything we needed. But as the committee went through the discussion phase on this and talked about the pluses and the minuses, a consensus gradually formed around American Eagle. And the more we discussed it, and when we threw in the references that we heard from them, and actually some experience that some staff members, including myself, had with the CMS that Liquid Print uses, that consensus gradually turned completely to American Eagle. And by the end, it was a unanimous and very enthusiastic choice for American Eagle. Everyone on the committee felt very strongly that they were the best choice for us. So let me tell you some of the reasons why we selected them over Liquid Print. First, given that, again, it's the most important, is the CMS. And this gets a little technical, but bear with me. Liquid Print uses a CMS called Drupal. And it's what's called open source software, meaning a group of developers wrote it and then put it out on the internet for anyone to use free of charge. And that's great right there. What makes it even better is that they enabled other software developers to write what are called modules that fit into Drupal to do specific things, maybe to show pictures a certain way or do a certain kind of navigation menu or something like that. So there are literally thousands of these modules out there on the internet, all free to use, and you can just pick and choose whichever ones you want to put into your Drupal installation. So that makes it very powerful. And the best feature is that it's open, it's free, anyone can add to it. That's also its biggest drawback, because there's no guarantee that all these modules work together. Now, on a site like ours, we might have maybe 10 modules, something like that. And until you try them, you don't know if Module A is going to work with Module B. You might have a system that works now, next year we'll find a new module we want to add, and it breaks something else. And when the underlying Drupal software is upgraded, then you've got that situation magnified, because there's no guarantee that all these modules are going to work with the new version. So, it's a very powerful system. There's thousands of sites that use it, but for a situation like ours, we just felt that it's a little riskier than what we would like. It might require more work than we would need to put into it, and then it wasn't quite right for us. American Eagle, on the other hand, has a very similar system, works the same way with modules, but they wrote it all themselves. So everything works together. We don't have to worry about updates or anything like that. And then the question, and this is specifically mentioned in the RFP, is that we don't want to use any proprietary software. We didn't want any software that would tie us to this designer as where our site is being hosted. We want to be able to move it someplace else at some point if we need to. While American Eagle's CMS is proprietary, they wrote it, they own it, They give you license to take it with you if you leave. All you can't do is sell it. So we're no more tied to them than we would be with Drupal, which we could take any place. So having said that these are pretty similar. In going through or having the two presentations, in almost every case where we asked about something maybe was a little bit beyond what was in the RFP or clarified something, the response was, yes, we have a module that can do that. Whereas with Liquid Print, there were a few more cases of, yes, we can find a module that will do that, or we can tweak a module that will do that. So it's probably doable, it's just another layer or level of complexity to make it happen, potentially. Okay, we also felt that the American Eagle CMS would be somewhat easier to use. Again, that was based on the experience of some staff members who had used Drupal before. Customer base, American Eagle is a larger company, more customers, a broader range of experience. They have also done a number of libraries. Liquid Print has done none. Is that a deal breaker? No. But it means that we don't have to spend time explaining to the designer library terminology, how library works, etc. We can say to American Eagle people, this is what we need for the circ desk, and they know what it is. We can say it to Liquid Print, and they say, what's the circ desk? Things like that. So I just feel it would be a smoother process. As I said, we talked to 2 existing customers from each firm. For Liquid Print, the responses were very positive. They liked it a lot. For American Eagle, they were enthusiastically in favor of it. And this is Colleen's impression from talking to these people. That all the customers liked it, but the American Eagle people were just more enthusiastic about what they liked about American Eagle. Next is ADA accessibility, as I mentioned before. And on this chart, you'll see that it's on here twice. Line 5 meets ADA accessibility section, misspelled section 508, nice. Initial. What that means is both of them can give us a fully ADA compatible site right off the bat. We did give American Eagle one more point, 10 versus 9 on that, because they've done some large government sites where ADA compatibility had to be to the letter. And so we felt that they would be a little more capable of doing it. But Liquid Print could still do a fine job on it. The other place that comes into play is down in line 20, ongoing compatibility. And that's where one of the areas where American Eagle stood out. Because they've done these government sites and have done so much with ADA compatibility, they wrote a module that does a lot of it for us. So when we take over the site and going forward from there, it will, in some cases, make the necessary tweaks to meet the Section 508 guidelines. In other cases, it will alert the user that you've got to do this, you've got to change this, you've got to add this, so that we can always be completely up to the standard. And that's important. Okay, and then last is cost. So again, back on this sheet, the first numbers that you could look at would be the blue box is labeled total site cost on the right side, where you'll see that American Eagle is $28,500 and Liquid Print is $34,400. Both of which are significantly over the amount that we have in the budget for this. However, there are 2 very discrete parts of the project that we can pull out and either do them towards the end of the year, if we see that there's enough funds available elsewhere in the budget, or if not, then we can budget for them next year. And those 2 items are a mobile site, meaning a site that's optimized to work on smartphones, which is very important these days, becoming more important, And the second is a secure area, meaning a private area where we can put board documents, staff-related files, those kinds of things. So if we pull both of those out of the quotes, then we have the numbers that are on the left side under adjusted quote, where American Eagle is 21.5 and Liquid Print is 32,245.
So did you just forget to take the 4 and the 3 off the left-hand column, or not show it under American Eagle? You deduct mobile site secure area from Liquid Print and web links?
They, in the 22,000 figure for American Eagle, that did not include those.
So it's another $7,000 from American Eagle to put in mobile and secure site? Is it?
Right, 7,000 more for them and 21.55 for Liquid Print. You're talking about why those aren't listed over here?
It's not consistent, yeah.
Well, but that's based on the proposal. This 22,000 figure, their bottom line, didn't include those in the first place. So that's why they're not subtracted off. Okay? I mean, if you look at the list under Liquid Print and Wetlands, for example, aren't the same either. I'm just pulling off the things unique to each quote.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense? So the 21.5 is right in the ballpark of what we have budgeted for this, 22 to 23,000. Liquid Print is 10,000 more. So all of these are the reasons that we feel that American Eagle is the best choice to design our new website. And we feel the most capable of delivering the site of the quality that we're looking for, with the best software to support it going forward, and leave us in the best position to efficiently maintain and further develop the site in the years to come. And I can tell you that staff is very excited about getting started on this. It's been in the works now seriously for about a year, but it's been on our radar for probably at least 10 years. It's a huge project, which is why we just could never manage to find the time for it before. We're looking at about 6 months of intensive work involving probably at least a dozen staff members. And just to give you some idea, we've probably conservatively spent 100 hours already getting to this point, developing the RFP, talking to the vendors, reviewing the proposals, etc. So that's all I have to say. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you want to ask us or ask others of the committee. I know it's a lot of information and you got it kind of late. The final proposals didn't come in until Monday afternoon, so that's why we couldn't get it out to you any sooner. But hopefully the charts, gave you the good summary of it. Hopefully what I said was helpful. And if you feel you have enough information to make a decision and take a vote tonight, we would be thrilled because we would love to get started on it next week. Thanks.
I appreciate the above and beyond effort of the whole committee to come up with a very objective way of looking at it. I mean, across 27 different factors on a weighted average, I mean, that's kudos to you guys for pulling that all together to take a look at how that is overall and what's really important, because to a non-Dribble user who doesn't completely understand, that's the part that I need to rely on you guys as the experts. And so to put it in very simple 101 language for me, I truly, truly appreciate it. So thank you for that.
Glad it helped.
I concur. I'd also like to call for a vote. Does anybody second?
Is there a contract involved with American Eagle? You have a 3-year hosting contract with WebLinks, if that was considered. Is there a contract for hosting with either American Eagle or Liquid Print?
Yes, they all have hosting fees. They're on the right-hand side. And, as you see, American Eagles is more, but we're talking about a fairly small amount of money.
Excuse me, I didn't hear what the attorney said just now.
I was asking, I was asking,
What's entailed in the
Mr. Albers,
325?
what was entailed in the 325 a month?
So we get hosting, maintenance, and support, is that unlimited?
Maintenance and support,
Yeah, or is that a per occurrence fee?
that's kind of flexible. I mean, that's one reason that you can't compare the proposals because they quoted different amounts. I try to get it to 1 hour a month, which would mean we have questions, we go to them. If we need something new done that we don't know how to do, we go to them. And that is accruable. It's not like we have 1 month, and if you don't, or 1 hour, if you don't use it, you lose it. So
What's a IDEV?
the IDA, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. That's one of the distinguishing factors between American Eagle and the others. The site will of course have a search form to search the pages on the site. The firms have different levels of advanced search, and American Eagle's is by far the best. It's a very Google-like search, which is obviously what everyone is familiar with. It's what they have come to expect. So in American Eagle, you're typing in the search form, it's going to automatically complete what you're typing and get that drop-down list of suggested things. So you're going to see, even as you're in the middle of typing, see the pages on our site that start to match what you're looking for. And that would just be a huge boon for patrons as well as staff. And so there's a $100 monthly charge for that module. And we feel it's more than worth it. And neither of the others has, well, I wouldn't say anything like it. They have some advanced features, but not as much.
To do the American Eagle, the 22 proposed quote, was that the 21 plus the 1,000 for the extra migration?
Right, which then I took 500 off because I don't think we need that much, right?
Paul Berg had a question?
Yeah, right now the website we're using is one that I understand that you devised, Kevin. Is that correct? More or less?
Well, led the committee that
More or
decided
less, yes.
to devise.
How long have we been using that?
Well over 10 years.
Well over 15 years. And with that, we still have one of the finest little libraries around, correct?
Becoming more.
I think
It's-
you have to say this.
You know, it looks okay. It's nowhere near
I know.
up to what it should be
I know. But
by
I'm just
modern
saying,
standards.
Are we,
It's functional, put it that way.
yeah, I said, are we getting the bang for our buck? I'm saying, are we putting, I said, the one site cost for American Eagle is $7,000, yet the other ones are significantly less. My next question is that the annual cost on that is $4,000 a year. Does this give you access to them when you need help?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that extra, or is that all included in this?
That's included. That's what we're getting for, you know, that hour that we're paying for. And we can change that too. I mean, if we find that we need more. And of course, there's some period after the site goes live, there's a period where it's still kind of in testing mode and we would get support beyond that.
Are there any other annual hidden fees that come up with this?
There shouldn't be.
What is the obsolescence on a plan like this? Seeing that
Well, given that our current one lasts
the
15
committee's
years.
lasted about 10 to 15 years, how long is this expected to last?
Well, I would say probably not that long, but again, that gets back to the CMS, to the software. The more robust it is,
I mean, are we
The
talking
better
3 years
able-
or are we talking 10 years?
what was the first number?
3 years or 10 years?
Definitely more than 3, yes. But the software that's underlying all this will allow us to keep the site up to date, add new features, the kind of things that we can't do now. I mean, just because of the way our site works, the way it's designed, the software runs on, we can't add new features like that.
Yeah.
With the software, we'll be able to. So from that standpoint, I mean, it could last as long, but in the sense of still being American Eagle and their
We've got a lot
CMS,
more
but the
versatile.
site could end up being different.
Much more versatile.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I'd like to address your statement about our current site. As frontline staff at the reference sees it every day, it is very, very hard to explain to patrons how to get to our databases, for which we pay a lot of money, and how to do a lot of stuff. We cannot do any marketing, our site is not dynamic. I mean, it's really, really an outdated site. And we were actually, as a library, on the forefront of library site development. We were one of the first library sites in '95 probably that had a website. And if we go to any conference, any seminars, if we say we're from
Anywhere in the
Morgan Grove,
country?
anywhere in the country, it's nationwide. They said, oh, Morgan Grove Library, your site. They're talking about now, about content. Before they were talking, you have a site, it's so developed. Now, you know, we still get compliments because people recognize the brand.
I'm just pointing that out, that it's been there a long time, because
Yes, it's really,
it's good. We're good because I think we have good staff, and I think that's something that's.
but we now,
So
in constraint of what this site can do, we can be so much better with this staff and the new website.
And just to give you another measure of this magnitude of this, we have almost 1,000 pages on our website, which is a lot.
Much more than any
Yeah.
other.
Another question. I understand we have a $22,000 grant toward this. Is that correct? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't that grant renewable? Do we get that every year? Or
Well, we apply for it.
Apply for it.
And yes, essentially get it every year, right? The per capita
But
rate
it
we did
has
last
to be,
fall.
you have to say what it's going to be used for before it, so it
Before.
can't, right, so we're not allowed to.
I was going to say. if
This
you
is
did-
going to fulfill the 2010,
Yes.
I'm sorry,
this is going to fulfill, it's a 2010,
this is not
Why
the grant
10?
that we applied for last
Right.
fall. This is one
Right.
from a year and a half
right,
ago.
Yes.
the
right.
10 grant.
I'm just wondering if there's
No, we
if
can't.
another grant can be head toward the upgrades, website upgrades in the future or something like
Not
that.
unless we find new grants.
Well, we could use a
We could.
future grant for that.
Right,
But
right.
there's
Yeah,
nothing,
next
we
month.
wouldn't
Yes,
have it next
yeah,
year,
next
it
month.
wouldn't be there for next
Right,
year.
right.
No, but it probably would have 2013.
But it has
You can
website.
write in whatever it is
No.
that you
No.
put in the
Right,
application.
right, you can apply for it in 2013,
Right.
but next year, no.
So this is cloud-based, they're hosting it, we're not.
Correct.
Do we have RSS feeds built into this, so if we wanted to pick up info
We
from
can do that.
the county, the city, whatever, so we can make this a more interesting site? And if I'm reading it right, the bid from American Eagle's $4,000 less than what they bid 6 months ago?
No, I believe it was 22,000 last time. The same, I think.
Mobile website's down 3,000.
Yeah.
You may be including
Less is a good thing.
the mobile side of the secure area or something in that number?
Yeah,
No, the mobile site was not in last year's.
well, it was $7,000 in the previous quote, it looks like it's down to 4 on this one.
Oh,
Oh, the mobile-
okay,
Yes,
so.
yes, yes.
And they
those-
clipped $1,000 off of,
So but that is from their preliminary and final proposals this cycle.
Yeah.
That's not from a year ago.
oh,
So yes, that's one of the things that came out of, with all the vendors. We said we wanted a mobile site, they had a bigger understanding of that than we did. And so all their prices came down a little bit, or in that case, a fair amount, because we didn't need as much as they were originally going to do for us. So yes, I'm sorry, I thought you were comparing that to last year's proposal.
any further questions of our directors? So board, we had a lot thrown at us today, so in a couple hours, we get quite a bit of information to digest on the website. So, does anybody care to motion?
I don't feel like I've had enough time to thoroughly look it over and compare them.
I'd like to make a motion that we propose the American Eagle to be our webpage.
I second that.
Comment or discussion?
My comment is that I would like to put it off because because I haven't had enough time to do the whole thing. We just got the comparative chart a couple hours ago and just got the proposals a couple days ago. And I would like some time to be able to look at it.
We've called for a proposal and it's been seconded. I think we have to vote on it.
Well, you can, but this is
We
the
can
discussion.
amend, this is part of the
This is
discussion.
discussion. We'll
That
vote.
should it be before we make the proposal?
You made the proposal. It's been seconded.
Well,
So, yes,
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I have to, if I look at about the, across the board, I feel like we need to trust the experts on this one. I do feel from a process and procedural standpoint that they have done extremely due diligence in dedicating the time to vet everything appropriately and to provide us the apples to apples comparisons. I think the explanations, at least for me, were comprehensive. I think we've had open time for questions, comments, concerns. I know, several of us have brought up several. I don't know what waiting additional time is going to get us because, this is the summation of basically 100 hours worth of work by staff to basically go through the process, and that's what we as a board expect them to come back with, which is a recommendation accordingly based on their level of expertise. And the process that they went through, I think, is exceptional.
I agree that it's exceptional. Here's my takeaway from this, though. In looking at this chart, which I very much appreciate, this is something concrete, this is something literal that we can look at. In just looking at these numbers are within 10% of each other. Are we going to pay 100% more for something that's only 10% better?
Well,
And wait, and I take very seriously our charge of fiscal responsibility, and I would like the time, because I have talked to people that have used this. I have talked on my own to the Morton Grove Park District, which uses them. I've talked to...
Them who?
I'm sorry, I'm talking about WebLinks right now. I've talked to the Plainfield Library, I've talked to the Morton Grove Park District, and I've talked to the Aurora Library about their experiences with WebLinks, and they are tremendously satisfied with their site and said that they would use them again. So I would like the time to make sure that spending double the money would give us significant benefit, because you can always buy up. It's easy to buy up.
No, it's not.
And if we can fulfill our needs within our budget, this is way out of our budget, guys. The yearly hosting fees on this is double what it is at WebLinks. That means we have to come up every year with an extra $16,000 in the budget just for
I'm sorry.
websites.
No.
No, there is no $16,000.
The total one-year cost?
But I'm sorry,
That's inclusive
that's
of
including
site.
buying the whole package.
Yes.
The one-year
That doesn't-
cost would be 12 times $325. Monthly total, $325 times 12.
Same.
That's what
Oh,
you pay
okay,
for.
so
I'm
that's-
sorry.
Year.
I'm sorry.
That's just the first year cost then? That
Yes.
isn't, because it said their total one-year cost.
Yes, I'm sorry. Well, yeah,
Okay.
first year cost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, that was not well put.
So after the grant, we have really about $4,000 a year extra.
If that's, yeah, which is, a very small percentage of our budget, and this is such an important part of the library. I mean, our face to the public and a very important tool for the staff and patrons.
Well, as everything, building could be old and new, but everything goes digital. Our face is the website. For many people, for students who use our databases, who use Booklists, who use all wealth of information, and we subscribe to a number of, really expensive things. for them to be able to find us and to be able to use it, it is very important.
I think we're all in total agreement that it's really important. I think the only point of contention is, are we being financially responsible by overlooking web links, considering that anybody can take me up on it and call them themselves to see that
Well-
people that have taken it are very happy.
Well,
As
let's-
you said in the
We've got
beginning.
just as happy people for American Eagle. So
Sure they
that's
are,
not-
but it's for twice as much money.
Well,
Right.
let me add to what Kevin already said, section 508 ADA, and that's one of the things we're talking about the new building. 508 is very important. What built in the American Eagle is a special wizard where each change that we will make, and we have a number of, staff with different with a variety of expertise, we can click on that wizard and it will show us whether we need to add something to that or it will not fly. None of these two companies, even the expensive one, have it. We just need to have it. I mean, we are talking about ADA compliance. This will give us something that we can, sleep. We did decide, we know it, we did it responsibly. WebLinks does not have it, does not have come even close to that. People can even, program using Drupal for free, but whether a library wants or needs it, it's a different thing.
Well, this section 3 checklist, this was given by you guys, right? For them to,
Yes.
okay. I noticed that on web links, all the answers are yes. And I noticed that on American Eagle, there are several answers that are no.
But then we talked to them, and what they yes or no mean, we heard, and we saw on the screen, and we asked them questions, and they answered. And they were not answered to our satisfaction for web links.
Well, they were all yeses on web
Well,
links.
but those,
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were optimistic, clearly didn't
Right.
understand. I mean, that's why you have the interview.
And,
Can
I-
I understand what I'm talking
and
about?
we have
I
a
just want to
department
jump
head.
in I want to jump in the middle for a second.
Okay.
With your permission, can one of our folks ask a question or make a comment?
sure. Oh,
Hi, I'm Ann. I'm head of youth services, and I'm one of the members of the web committee. And, we can discuss some of our many, many reasons for our preferences over and over again. But, the ease of use, the ability for staff to do what we think that we need to do is so important to us and so crucial to what we thought of. And when you're talking about money, and you're talking about staff time too. So I really think that you can look at these things, these very small amounts of money, in a way that it just really doesn't make a huge difference. And what I would like to hear, it sounds like we just have one person who is wanting that extra time, who wants to hear things. I would like to hear what the whole board has to say, perhaps before this discussion continues, because it sounds like we're only hearing one person's opinion.
All right, thank you.
well, let me make just one point. To go back to your comment about the scores in the charts, that there isn't that big a spread, and that's absolutely right. But as I mentioned back at the beginning, when we put this together, we could have played with these numbers to show a huge difference if we wanted to. We didn't. We
No,
sat
I
down.
understand that.
Right.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, but we sat down and gave the scores that we thought were fair.
Right.
And I was surprised, kind of at how close they did come out.
Yeah.
And thought, okay, this does not reflect the feelings, the impressions we got from the companies.
But that's subjective, Kevin. Those
But
numbers
that's
are
important.
objective.
But
But
everything
these are
is
not-
subjective.
You
We had
already
on the
weighed
score.
that,
So
though. You
the-
weighed that number
So
27.
the major
There's more to
detriment,
that.
the major detriment to web links is they don't use an adequate CMS, one that's going to continue to let us use the site effectively.
That's
Yes,
the major,
yes.
but
So
Certainly
we
not the
have
only.
that. So that's a detriment to web links.
Well, let me ask you, I'm sorry.
Can I add one more? It's to web links, and it has nothing to do from a service standpoint, but how they present themselves to this board, which is, last summer when we went through this process before, and it's since got postponed, but I would seriously call into question them as a public contractor from a misconduct standpoint,
Oh,
based on
boy,
the
did
fact
I do the
that,
same thing for American Eagle because they threatened to sue us. So
because,
you want to draw that in, I'll be happy to draw that in.
we can take this offline, but I am concerned as a board how they present themselves to, as a public contractor. And I
am
discuss
too,
it
for
any
the other
further,
one.
and we can talk to legal counsel after the fact if we need to, but
Well, I have a comment on that too, if I can, that we got a letter from American Eagle last summer, and they were concerned about what had happened because they had a signed contract in hand. And, you know, and they were just questioning what happened with that. And frankly, I think that for them to take the time to go through this process again for us, they have enough interest in us. They have expressed more interest than have the others in our business. And that, I think that's just as important. That means a lot to me.
To us.
To us, yes.
I have a question. When you were talking about this CMS functionality,
You know, some third-party module is not going to work with what we have.
Why can't we vote on this?
Any further comments, questions, concerns? Paul, Arthur, Mr. Huff, anybody, Dave? Then I'll call the question. So there was a motion to,
We had a motion to adopt American Eagle as the website provider. It was moved by Mr. Goldstein and seconded by Trustee Quinn. We can take a vote on this.
then it's up for vote, voice
It's up
vote.
for vote. We'll start with Dr. Kellerman.
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein,
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
Trustee Peters,
No.
Trustee Quinn,
yes.
Trustee Elbers,
Yes.
Trustee Berg, yes with reservations, but the reservations don't count for anything, so it's a yes.
American Eagle.
I just want to say thank you because February and beginning of March is the best time for staff to work on that. So if it were to be delayed, it would have been so much harder for us with all other programs. So thank you for letting us start this big project.
Really had a good window in February before, you know, the director search and any number of other things get going in March, so yes.
We appreciate all the work you've done. Thank you.
So, and I have,
Thank you to the rest of the committee too.
and I'm gonna make this comment that I like the proposal. I wish we'd have got it a little bit
A lot
earlier.
earlier.
And I appreciate,
understand.
and I appreciate
Why I
our
voted no.
treasurer's concern about the price because it is her job to help us watch the dollars. So,
Completely
everybody,
agree. We actually worked several weekends, nights, and asked staff to come additional just because there is not enough time with all of the projects and us doing several jobs
And my
to
no
do
vote
it.
wasn't against American Eagle, it was against not having enough time to consider this
Absolutely.
proposal.
And, you know, and again, you know, we felt we didn't want to push it back to March. And, you know, we had a relatively short time and
I
so
don't
that's why it
think
ended
2
up
hours was
being.
enough. I
Well,
just don't think 2
I
hours
understand,
was
but in
enough.
terms of getting it in for this meeting, that was the best we could do.
Well, I think our website is the window to the world.
It
so
is,
It
obviously.
has to be good, and we
But
trust.
that's a trademark, you know,
we
so you
trust-
can't use that.
what's,
Changes to number
He
12.
is our trademark.
and what's the timeline for completion on the new site? The fall
Well, late summer,
or, okay,
I would say. Yes.
back to school thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
And I should also mention, you know, working on a new design for Books and Beyond, which we hope to tie in with the website, so we'll have a constant or a consistent theme between them. More consistent face to the book.
All right, thank you. Communications, there were none presented. Public comments on non-agenda items? If there are none, we're going to move into executive session to discuss some probable litigation. So can I have a motion to go into executive session? Second?
I'll second.
No discussion, I got a roll call vote?
Mr. Elbers?
Yes.
Trustee Burke, yes. Trustee Calmack?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein? Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Peters?
Yes.
And Trustee Quinn?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, back in session at 8:27. Motion to adjourn?
No, we need to have a motion to meet as a committee of the whole on the 6th.
Thank you very much,
No.
Ms. Peters.
Okay.
Don't we?
Second?
Yes, you do.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay.
What do we have a motion
We have a
for?
motion by Ms. Peters, seconded by
Kalman.
Mr. Kalman to,
Meet as a
Meet
committee
as
of
a
the
committee of
whole
the whole on March 8th at
at 6
6 p.m.
PM.
We need a vote on it?
Okay, Mr. Burke, yes.
Oh, and invite, do we have to say the and invite?
Trustee Calmack?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Peters?
Yes.
Trustee Quinn?
Yes.
And Trustee Elbers?
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Now, would we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Any objections?